The snow whispered that night, like a secret trying to reach someone too far gone. It covered the town of Dry Hollow in a hush, wrapping cabins and broken fences in a silver that seemed too kind for the cruelty it blanketed. Beneath the falling flakes, a woman walked, barefoot. Her dress torn, her lips split, and her breath fogging in weak, frantic clouds. She moved like a shadow, unsure if it still belonged to a body. "Please," her voice cracked. "Can you take me with you?" Her words fell against the shoulders of a man standing near the riverbank, reins in hand, horse steaming under him. He didn't move. Not yet. The only sound was the groan of the river ice shifting beneath snow, as if the land itself had heard her. The woman's name was Lisa May Callahan. 24, with hands that trembled but eyes that held too much knowledge for their age. The man she spoke to was Elijah Walker, called Eli by those few who dared speak to him at all. He looked at her for a long time. Then his eyes flicked to the bruises on her arms, the way her ribs caught her breath like they were tired of it. Still he didn't say a word. And she didn't ask again. Not yet. The first time Lisa saw Eli was through the cracks of the church door. He was the man who didn't kneel, didn't sing. Just sat at the back, dust on his boots and silence stitched into his coat. People said he'd come back wrong after the war, that he only talked to horses now or ghosts. But to Lisa he looked like someone who had forgotten how to hurt things. And that made her curious. Bo, her husband, was not made of silence. He was made of rage and whiskey and loud apologies that grew smaller each time. He worked cattle when he could hold down the bottle long enough and used the back of his hand for punctuation. Their home had no softness, just walls that remembered every scream. She had left once years ago. Just long enough to walk to the general store. Miss Thea had tucked a ribbon into her bag with a note that read, "You don't need chains to know you're a prisoner." She read it once, then burned it. Hope, like a match, flickers too easily in the wind when you have no one to shield it. But something changed last night. Bo came home later than usual. The storm had started and the firewood was gone, but he didn't notice the cold. His boots were muddied with someone else's blood. Bar fight, maybe? He slammed the door, looked at her, and said nothing for a full minute. Then, with the softness of a sigh, he said, "You're the reason nothing good stays." That was the first time he didn't raise his hand. He raised something worse. He raised the possibility that she might stay like this forever. So she waited until he slept, mouth open, snoring like a dying mule, and stepped into the storm. Her shoes were by the fire, but she left them. Let her feet feel the way out. Let the ice remember. The wind pushed her forward, one sharp breath at a time, until she found the river. And there he was. What? Feeding his horse beneath a leaning pine. She didn't plan the words. They just came. "Please. Can you take me with you?" Eli studied her again. Snow clung to his shoulders, to the lines around his eyes that hadn't softened in years. He had lost his brother in the war, shot by a boy too young to know which end of the rifle did what. Eli had never forgiven the war. Or himself. He'd come to this land to escape the noise. But Lisa's voice wasn't noise. It was the sound of something breaking open. "I got one extra horse," he said, voice low. Lisa blinked. "That's not a yes." He turned his back and walked toward the barn. She followed. The saddle groaned under her, muscles she hadn't used in years screaming by the mile. They didn't speak. Not for hours. Only the snow did, brushing past them in sheets like veils being lifted, one memory at a time. Lisa's hands were raw. Her knees bruised from the ride. But she didn't cry. She'd cried enough to last through 5 winters. They stopped near a river bend Eli favored, where steam rose from a hot spring like a sleeping animal's breath. He lit a fire with the calm of a man who'd done it alone too long. Lisa watched, knees drawn to her chest, ribs aching from silence. "Why are you helping me?" she asked finally. Eli paused, then handed her a cup of coffee he'd brewed from blackened beans. She took it with shaking hands. "You said please," he answered. The fire crackled between them. He noticed how she cupped the cup like it might vanish. She noticed how he didn't ask anything about Bo. When morning came, the sun was pale behind clouds. They rode again deeper into the hills. Toward his land. His cabin. She saw the way the trees bent near it, like they had grown around the weight of his grief. He had built the place himself. Logs stacked with precision, windows too small to invite trouble. He helped her off the horse without a word. Let her limp inside. His coat still hung from her shoulders. That night she tried to sleep on the floor. He brought her a blanket without speaking. Laid it gently over her. His fingers brushed hers once. She didn't flinch. Back in town, Bo woke to cold and empty. When he realized she was gone, he didn't panic. He poured a drink. Told himself she'd be back. They always came back. The town was small. Options were smaller. But when the sheriff knocked later that day, concern under his mustache, Bo sobered fast. She was seen riding with Eli Walker, the sheriff said. Bo laughed. That ghost? She'll regret that. The sheriff didn't laugh. I'm just telling you what I heard. Don't make it a mess. Bo made a mess anyway. Lisa watched the horses from the porch of Eli's cabin. She started brushing them. Quietly. Gently. One nuzzled her wrist. She smiled for the first time in days. I think she likes you, Eli said from the barn doorway. I don't know how to be liked. He didn't argue. Just nodded once like it was okay. Days passed. Slow. Healing. There was no touching, no declarations. Just wood stacked together, meals cooked in silence, warmth shared when the nights dropped below freezing. One morning she made coffee before he did. He didn't smile, but he sat with her. The world was beginning to forget how loud her pain had been. Then came the gunshot. Splintered the top edge of Eli's doorframe like lightning finding a tree. Lisa dropped the kettle. Eli stood still, eyes narrowing. He looked out into the storm and saw a figure on horseback. Bo. I came for what's mine, Bo shouted. Lisa stepped behind Eli. You ain't hers, Eli said simply. The words cut sharper than a blade. She's my wife, Bo snarled. That still means something. Lisa stepped forward, hands trembling but empty. You never treated me like a wife. Only like something you could break. Bo looked startled, then angry. You've gone soft. No, she said. I've gone quiet. There's a difference. Eli didn't move. His rifle stayed untouched by the door. Instead, he looked at her. Waited. And she walked out into the snow. She faced Bo, heart pounding. The sky seemed to hold its breath. I asked him to take me with him, she said, loud enough for the cold to carry it. And he didn't say yes. He just didn't say no. Bo dismounted. His boots crunched the frost. You think you're strong now? Because some coward gave you a blanket? Lisa reached into her coat. Pulled out the pistol Eli had shown her how to hold. She aimed it at the sky and fired. The shot echoed across the river, scattering birds and silence alike. Bo froze. So did the world. She didn't aim again. Just held it steady. I'm not going back, she said. Not because he saved me. But because I finally heard myself. Bo looked at Eli. Eli didn't speak. Didn't move. I ain't gonna chase you forever, Bo said. You won't have to, she whispered. Because I'm not running. He left. Just like that. Without another word. The snow began to fall again. Later, inside, she set the pistol down gently on the table. Eli poured her tea. She reached across and placed her hand over his. He looked at it like it was something fragile. Then turned his palm to hold hers. Outside, the river cracked. Slowly. But it was beginning to thaw. Years later, they say the woman who came barefoot in snow never looked back. That she built a life from silence and steam and small things that healed slowly. The land remembered her. And if you ever stand alone in a storm, voice breaking against the wind, remember, sometimes the only permission you need is your own. Sometimes you just need to say, please, and believe that someone might finally listen.